We're getting ready to start our number 2 in a series called the Am I the Asshole series, where we pick out some of these videos from Reddit asking the famous question of Am I the Asshole? And we riff on that for a bit and see what comes of it, because we might have slightly different ideas than most people are going to have. And that's why you enjoy watching us. Welcome back to another episode of the Unframe of Mind show, where we have uncomfortable conversations without a condom. I'm your host, Daniel Wagner, and joining me today, of course,
the asshole Anthony. I'm good to be back.
Anthony Trawick, the asshole.
Hey guys.
I think it's fair to say we're both assholes, so we will know. Like the infamous "takes one to know one" surely works here, doesn't it? So we will know an asshole when we see one. So let's find out.
I tell you what, man, you did the first one and you kind of ran solo on that one. I didn't know anything about this or this was even a thing until you mentioned it to me. I was like, all right, well, let's give this a shot. And, of course, I'm very opiniinated. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to call it like I see it. So let's go.
You opinions? No way. So let's get into it. So
okay, let's do it.
This first one is, am I the asshole for considering leaving my boyfriend over golf? Am I the asshole considering leaving my boyfriend over golf? Yep. I live with my boyfriend. She's 29. He's 32. And our 5-month-old baby. Oh, geez. Okay. Before I got pregnant, my boyfriend used to never play golf. A few months into pregnancy, my dad invited him to go one weekend. After that, it's a wrap. He's been going every single weekend without missing a Sunday. Sometimes he would even go 2 days a week to quote-unquote practice. When our baby was born, it didn't and has not stopped. I'm assuming the golf, not the baby.
Right.
I'm at my wit's end. I'm at my wit's end, and I'm sick and tired of being the primary parent, and on top of that, being left every Sunday to care for our son alone. With his job, sometimes he would only have Sundays off, and he would still choose to spend his 1 day off week playing golf. He bought all new gear. My dad even given him an old set he had. He has spent hundreds on a bag of new clubs. I have expressed how upsetting it is, and he just doesn't understand or seem to get where I'm coming from. He said it helps him de-stress, that I don't understand, because I need to get a hobby.
Okay.
Why? I don't know why she puts hobby in quotes, but hobby is in quotes. I literally work from home Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and I take care of our baby 24/7. I handle all the feedings, cleanings, caring for our baby, everything. I breastfeed / pump. And I do it all alone. His excuse for not helping ever is he is the breadwinner of our house and he has to wake up early to drive to work every day. I understand that to an extent and still manage to do everything alone, but I would love to know I can count on him at least on the weekends with any little things, so I could at least get a few hours of sleep, but I can't. He wakes up at 5 a.m. on Sunday and goes to play golf and usually comes back drunk around 12 to 1, sometimes later, it depends. So, am I the asshole for considering leaving him over this? Not sure how to approach the situation. I have mentioned before my frustrations. Usually he'll try and help me for like a day or two. After that, by offering to wash the baby bottles or hold him to rock him to sleep for a bit, but it only lasts a day or two, and then he goes back to just focusing on himself. I was visibly upset this morning when he asked what was wrong, and I mentioned it again. I sound like a broken record. I told him I felt like he cares more about golf than us once again, and I'm doing everything alone, and he just gets 5 to 10 minutes with him a day. If, oh, you're so cute and some baby talk and everything else is on me, I don't understand that. Anyway, and he just stormed off to golf, upset with me, and didn't finish our conversation. So,
okay.
right off the bat, is she the asshole, or should we analyze this first?
I want to do both, but right off the bat, is she the asshole? No.
Yeah.
I do not think that she's the asshole. No, I don't.
Right. And I'm gonna vote right off the bat that all three of them are the assholes.
I thought we were specifically talking about her.
Yes. Her.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely got to answer that. But I think
no, I don't think that she's being
the only asshole not in the story is the baby.
Okay, well, I don't think she's being an asshole. I think the husband is. I think the dad, to some extent, for kind of playing a role in this whole situation. I think. Okay, here's the deal. Okay, Dr. Trawick is in session right now, and I'm going to give you 411.
Let's hear your synopsis, Mr. Trawick.
I fish. That's my hobby. I went
Yep.
fishing this morning, right? So I love that we're doing this. Okay, I've got a wonderful girlfriend who knows that I need some time for myself, right? Do I fish every weekend? No, I do not. Do I fish when I have time? Yes. My priorities is family first. Then everything else after that falls the way that it falls, right? So if fishing is five things down the list, then I will get around to it at some point and I'll go fishing. It's good for men to have a hobby. And it's good for everybody to have a hobby, right? I need it, relieve stress. You need to get out. I love going to the lake, decompress, not thinking about work, not thinking about kids, not thinking about anything. I'm thinking about absolutely nothing but catching a fucking fish. That's what I want. Okay. So when I come back home, I feel rejuvenated. I feel good. It's just that's what I needed. Okay. Maybe this is what this dude needs. But it seems like he just started playing this sport. Now, with any sport, okay, when you get good at it and you realize you're having a lot of fun, what tends to happen? You get addicted to this sport. What lacking in this whole situation is empathy for each other, for the husband and for the wife. I think they need to sit down, have a heart to heart conversation, and say, look, I'm willing to compromise. If you want to go golfing every other weekend or X, Y, and Z, at least she's coming about it from the standpoint of being able to compromise. If he's not willing to meet her halfway, he is completely 100% the asshole. The father should step in and say, hey, man, I know you're spending a lot of time with me. We're playing golf, we're doing X, Y, and Z, but you need to go home and you need to spend some time with your family, with your newborn, get that shit straightened out. We can go golfing anytime. This is always going to be here. But the moments with your child that young, you only get one shot at that. So I think as a parent should be telling, his son, hey, your priorities are not in order right now. Okay. You guys need to talk about it. We'll go out maybe once a month and play golf. Okay. Um, I think both sides are not hearing each other. I think, like I said, they need to sit down, they need to talk, they need to compromise. The father actually needs to be a little bit more empathetic to the situation and say, hey, this is enough. You're doing too much golf. Hey, why don't you go spend time with your family? That's where I'm at with it. So my views are probably skewed, but it's just coming from somebody that has a hobby like fishing, and I'm out there at the lake for several hours at a time. Um, I can remember back during COVID, I was furloughed from work and I was out at the lake every day for a month and a half, every
Oh,
single morning.
you were in heaven.
Yeah, oh dude, I was loving it. But here's the thing is that I got my girlfriend involved with fishing and turns out she loves it.
Mhm.
Maybe they can get a sitter for a couple of hours. Maybe she can go with him. There's an idea. She may not know how to play, but at least she can caddy or drive the golf cart. They're spending time together. It may not be the most ideal place that she wants to go, but she's supportive of something he loves to do. And I think that needs to be done the other way around for her as well. Hey, babe, why don't you go off and do something? Get your nails done, hang out with your friends. I'll stay home and watch the baby. There's got to be compromise here. And it seems like there's not anything that's going on. So the people that are the asshole, not her, him, and the father. Those are the two that need some work.
Him and the father, the asshole. All right. All right.
Yeah.
So here's my take. And then there's a reason why I says she's also the asshole in the situation, and I'll cover
Okay.
that. I agree with you 100%. The father needs to stop taking up so much of the boyfriend's time. So that's just unacceptable.
Right.
He's had a kid before, obviously.
Right.
So I would think he would know a little something about what it takes to raise a child, especially when she's working a full-time job and having to raise this child. And it's like the only day that she might even get a break is going to be Sunday. So she's totally justified.
Yeah, she
Uh,
is.
so I'm not saying she's not justified in being an asshole, but she's still kind of being the asshole for this.
Okay.
Just to be clear, she's probably mm, 25% asshole, and her husband and husband share the rest of the. Sorry, her boyfriend and father share the rest of that percentage. She's just a little bit of it.
Assholeism percentage.
Yeah, yeah, we got percentage of asshole depending on how big it is. Um, but here's the thing: she clearly has married her father. Um, it's, I mean, this
Yeah.
boyfriend and her her excuse me, her boyfriend and her dad get along splendidly, apparently, which is great. I mean, you want your significant other to get along with your in-laws. Excuse me. You want your boyfriend or your significant other to get along with your family. That's that's obvious. That's clear. Um, but what's hugely lacking is this total lack of communication. And
Yeah.
yeah, she in this, I can just kind of tell she's not a very good communicator. Um,
Yeah,
the
that's
way
what I
she's
mentioned.
the way she's written this was really hard to read to begin with. I'm not trying to be grammar Nazi here or anything like that, but it's just like put a
Yes, you
period.
are.
Put Well, no, really. If I was being a grammar Nazi, would have an hour show on just this piece of text alone. But put a period in once in a while. Let's split up your thoughts a bit. Break down your ideas. She's not very good at communicating, and the way she's communicating with her boyfriend about it is like it's almost like
Pretty
she's
abrasive.
nagging him whenever she's getting pissed off, and she's having the communications when she's angry and when she's already stressed and
Yeah, don't
upset.
do that.
That level of stress that would make any dude want to go, okay, well, I guess I'm going to get out of this situation. I don't want to deal with
He's
this
gonna
drama.
check out, is what he's doing.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's part of what's going on. He's happily grasping onto this golf rather than raising that new baby and working on bonding with that new baby. So he's totally being an asshole for that. Your hobbies, I'm sorry, when you have kids, those hobbies go off the wayside. Those don't exist
Yep.
anymore. Maybe if you can kind of squeeze out a little time to do it once in a while, sure. But on the whole, that baby comes first. In this entire equation, that baby is number one, and
Yep.
nobody's focusing on what's best for the baby. And I mean that insofar as she's also not really focusing on what's best for the baby, because if she was, first of all, she would have married her significant other. They wouldn't be boyfriend and girlfriend with a 6-month-old right now. They'd be in a married, committed relationship.
Yeah.
There's a total lack of commitment going on. And second, she wouldn't be raising the stress level around the baby. I don't know if I'm assuming she's probably having that conversation with the baby around. I don't know that she's putting the baby in the other room and calmly confronting him. I don't get a sense that that's the type of person she is in this piece of text. That's the downside of having very limited information on this. I don't know how she handles conflict, but I don't get a sense that she's doing a very good job of it. She could be less of an asshole if she could focus on getting that communication better. It might be
Yeah.
something like, "Hey, mom, can you watch the baby for a bit? Because me and my boyfriend and my dad, we all need to sit down and have a good heart to heart. We need to hash this out because this isn't working for me. I'm super stressed. And it needs to be done when she's not in the middle of that stress and anger. I think that's going to go huge way towards solving the actual problem for her. Yeah, there was something else I wanted to cover, but I think that pretty much covers what I was
I
thinking about.
think there's a lack of maturity when it comes to this situation, because they sound like they're new, like new parents. Like
Oh,
they both
yeah,
have never had. Yeah.
yeah, the
So
baby's only 5 months old, 5-month-old baby,
I
and they're
mean,
29 and 32.
it's a little concerning that you're willing to go as far as throwing away everything plus the relationship, as parents for the baby, throwing it all away over a silly thing of golf. That to me is like you've gotten somewhere in your mind to that point to where you're willing to risk it all and throw it away over something that could be easily communicated or discussed or compromised about.
Yeah,
I
it's a new
don't,
hobby. It's a new hobby. They've been together. I don't know how long they've been together. I think she
again,
said,
that yeah,
but
it's the newness
five
hasn't
months of
worn
golf.
off.
There's a total lack of commitment in all of this that I'm sensing.
Well, there's
Like,
the
we
only
got
commitment that's being made is to the golf course, and
that's fair. That's fair.
but it's true. I mean, it's he's putting that commitment before anything else, and and again, there needs to be compromise. If this is something that he has just now started to take up, hey, I get it. New sport, you learn that you have a thing for it and you love it. You want to spend more time doing it, but you
Mhm.
do have to recognize your priorities. And if they're not in order, there needs to be a core of people around you to say, dude, what are you doing out here, man? You need to be at home with that kid. What are you
Yeah,
doing?
yeah.
It seems like he doesn't have that. And clearly the father is not helping the issue at all. by
Oh,
saying those things to him. Now, maybe he may not be saying it because he doesn't want to overstep. Hey, I can respect that. But if he's got this tight relationship with the father, then that's when I would think, hey, okay, well, let me talk to you for a second out on the golf course as we're on the ninth hole. And let me tell you, man, you're spending a lot of time out here, but you're not spending a lot of time at home. And that's kind of concerning for me, you know. And
so
there's so
if
many
he did,
different ways this can be approached.
I wonder if he did have that conversation or tried to have that conversation, what would be the boyfriend's response? Because why?
Well, we're
I don't think we've analyzed the boyfriend enough here. I feel like there's a reason why he's choosing because it sounds like he doesn't it doesn't seem like you made a good point. He doesn't have a strong problem with committing to something. Clearly, he's committed to golf right now.
I don't
Maybe
think
that's
it's getting away from the home. I think it's a new sport. And again, like I said, when
oh, you
okay,
think it's the newness of the
yes. Yes, and I'll tell you why, because when I got my girlfriend out on the lake for the first time to fish, she had no idea that she was going to enjoy it as much as she did. She loves it. And we were going almost every weekend there for about a month or two. So
right.
I do understand that correlation with the sport, it being new, the newness hasn't worn off yet. I'm telling you, give this 6 months down the road, he's going to be maybe playing 2 or 3 times a month, if that.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is. I think she is kind of, and I hate to say this, but I think there's a little bit of jealousy here that he has a hobby. He has a way to get out of the house. She's stuck with the baby at home. He's not. He's off doing his own thing. I think there's a little bit of envy here.
Yeah.
And I don't
I wonder
think it's so. Go ahead.
we know what the narrative is on the girlfriend's part. We know what her
Yeah.
narrative is. I'm really curious. I would love to see the boyfriend's narrative. Like what is the reason why he's choosing to spend all day at work? Basically, he thinks I make the money. That should be enough. So I earn this break. What's the narrative he's telling himself that justifies spending basically his only free day a week away from his family yet again? Like that's what I would
Well,
like.
this is the thing about doing subjects like this is we're getting one side of the situation. We're not hearing both sides of
Yeah,
the situation. If I had to argue that, I would say this is the bottom line. It's a new sport. He's enjoying it more than he thought he would. He's meeting other men. He's building relationships. He's having a great time. He's going out drinking. He's kind of letting his hair down. It sounds like he's the breadwinner, which she has clearly stated. So he spends a lot of time working. In his mind, he feels like he's deserving of a little bit of time to himself in order to release some stress and I get all this. But again, the focus needs to shift back to the baby.
yeah,
That is the priority. You made a commitment to this woman to get her pregnant and have a child and start a family.
yep,
Golfing needs to go to the back burner for a little while. You can always go back to it later on, but also the conversation needs to be had. Hey, what can we do to compromise here? Like I said, can we find a sitter for the baby? Why don't you come out with me to the golf course? And see, this is a lot of fun. You know what I'm saying? So there's different ways that this can be approached, but I think that, like you said at the beginning, that this is coming from a place that she's just, I wouldn't say angry, but frustrated at the
yeah.
situation.
It
And
sounds
I
like
think
she's
there's a
completely
little bit of
overwhelmed.
envy.
Yeah,
Huh?
it sounds like she's completely overwhelmed by everything at the moment. Having a new
Let me,
baby is not an easy task, especially the first one. And when you're having to work a 9 to 5 and raise a baby, women just weren't necessarily cut out for that, historically
right.
speaking.
Yeah.
Typically that baby is a huge, huge undertaking. So
Mhm.
that needs to be her primary focus. And if there's any way possible where she could stop working or at least cut back her hours considerably, where she's putting her priority on that baby, I think that would go a long way to helping alleviate some of that stress that's in her life. But did you have any final thoughts before we kick it to the audience and their opinions?
Yeah, no, I just, these are all assumptions, obviously. This is speculation as far as what we're basing this off of something that she has written. We don't know
Right,
the
right.
context and how she was writing this. She could have been frustrated in the heat of the moment. She was just lashing out and she did it through something online. Um, people tend not to have the best judgment when doing so. And We don't know what's happened since then. We don't know his side of the story. We don't know the dad's. It's all speculative at this point because that's kind of what we're doing is we're trying to figure this out. But
Mhm.
yeah, to me, again, it's the shift in priorities need to change, and hopefully that they do. And there's nothing else that comes of this. But I do think one thing though is I think that the tables were turned. Would we have a post from that gentleman instead of her about the situation? If she was the
Yeah,
one
that's
going out with her friends, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you can fold this however many times you want to, but if the shoe was on the other foot, would he be on here complaining about the same thing?
yep, that's a
I
good
think he would.
question. And that needs to be said probably every time we do one of these is like, yes, we're only getting one side of the story. So and
Yeah,
we're getting the narrative that one side of the story is telling. So that might not even be completely accurate. So you just got to keep
yeah,
those things in mind and take them with a grain of salt when you read these things. So there's always three sides to every story, her side, his side, and the truth. Of
yep.
course. So that being said, what do you guys think in the audience? You guys think that she's the asshole? Did we make some good points? Where you land on this? Maybe give us a scale of 1 to 10 in the comments, so whether or not she's the asshole or not, and let us know. And if you guys happen to see any of these and want us to respond to it, feel free to
Bring
link
them.
that.
Yeah, send them to us.
Yeah, yeah, link them in the comments. I see them all the time. I think they're really interesting because it gives us a chance to kind of get a little insight into people who are struggling, and it's an actual problem that people are having, that maybe we can offer a little advice to help with. So yeah, and maybe you have one of those situations. But that being said, you have been watching another episode of the Unframe of Mind show, where we have uncomfortable conversations without a condom. I'm your host, Daniel Wagner.
Anthony Trevick.
All right, until next time, ladies and gentlemen. See ya.
Don't be an asshole.
Yeah.